I live in South London, in a third-floor flat in a 5-story building, 2 floors above, 2 floors below. Being that I live in London, I'm used to seeing people act drunk, crazy or violent, especially at night when the nut has come out. But what I experienced 2 nights ago shook me to this very moment, so I feel I have to write this down in case my situation becomes more weird than it already is. Why did he choose my door? Every evening, after I finished eating, I watch a couple of creepypasta videos online before I go out on the balcony to smoke a cigarette. I come in, lock the door, and put it on the latch. Every time I lock the door, I look through the spy hole. I don't know why, but I always feel the urge to. Every night that I've looked through the spy hole, I see the usual city lights through the rusty balcony railings and the poorly lit car park 2 stories below. I don't ever really expect to see anything interesting. Last night, as I was smoking a cigarette out on the balcony, I heard the voice of a man whispering loudly. So loud it defeated the point of him whispering in the first place. I couldn't tell if it was on the balcony above or the one below, but I heard what he said. This little piggy went to market. It confused me for a second. I thought whoever he was, he must have been talking to someone who was with him, until I heard the voice whisper again from the stairway at the end of the balcony I stood. This little piggy stayed home. If these whispers are aimed at me, I sure as hell don't know why. Post-haste, I put out my cigarette and turned to walk back into my flat. This little piggy had roast beef. I heard being whispered behind me as I stepped into the doorway. The whisper sounded as if it were immediately behind me. It sent a chill through my bones. I slammed the door shut in a nervous rush. I knew I shouldn't have looked through the spy hole. I knew looking would be a bad idea. But I looked anyway. Why did I look? I lined my eye up, close to the spy hole, and tried to focus my vision. But all I could see was black. I could hear someone on the other side, breathing heavily through their nostrils, and what sounded like the grinding of teeth. I was frozen in place, knowing on the other side of that door stood some menacing creep. Staying there, staring out, I tried to breathe quietly, but my adrenaline was flowing as my heartbeat was escalating, and I gasped for a large breath. He heard. The darkness that covered the spy hole receded, and formed a pair of lips that were bloody and torn, and a mouthful of blood-stained teeth that looked like they were chewing on gum. They were not chewing gum. The man had bitten off his own lips and was chewing on them while looking back through the spy hole with an absent-minded glare that only a maniac could give. He knew I was there, on the other side of the door. With his disgusting and mangled mouth, in a calm, almost happy voice, he mouthed. This little Ricky had none. Then gave a bloody lipless grin. That was enough for me. I stepped back slowly. I thought about going into the kitchen to phone for the police, but I became so paranoid. I didn't want the risk of him looking at me through my kitchen window with those deranged eyes. In my head, I told myself it was a dumb drunk playing some mind game. I crept into my room and crawled into bed, hoping to forget whatever that was I'd just seen. I awoke at 3:27 a.m. to a cold chill. My feet were poking out of the bottom of the blanket. I started to pull my feet under the blanket when something at the end of my bed pinched one of my toes with a wet and icy grip. I scrambled and flailed my arms, climbing out of my bed, heading for the light switch. While I flung myself to the opposite side of the room, I heard the heavy breathing and footsteps of the stranger. His silhouette moved in such an eerie manner. It looked like he was gliding out of the doorway, looking like he was power walking into the hall, out of my flat, and back into the cold night. I turned on the lights. I thought to myself, that freak pinched my goddamn toe. It was that man. He'd gotten into my flat, but I don't know how. He left a collection of discarded cigarette butts at the end of my bed. How long has this damn maniac been watching me?